Okay.
So you
Okay,
can.
so today we are going to go into detail on the application from when the user completes their first scan and they go into the reading of the resources and the priorities. And Medric is going to take us basically through the screen in a great amount of detail to actually explain what it is that you're looking at and how to interpret it.
Yes, so the idea is that we do every Thursday at 4 p.m. For 45 minutes on a very specific topic, and then we can use this recording to break down into relevant pieces to add some help and so on. So thank you everybody to be here. We will also have Christine today with us to explain resources because it's based on our work. I will start sharing the screen maybe, which is here. So when using, you can now hide the name of the users by just clicking here on the privacy screen. So no name will appear in the recording. So basically, when you start the app, you go to the home page. You can choose one particular user, so across all your users, or do a recording for yourself. And then you can start with a record, with a new recording, or do a test. For the test, we will speak about it in another session. Or you can also import existing recordings. It can come from previous recordings, or it can come from an Apple Watch. So if you have an Apple Watch like that, it will give you some, let me just share another screen. It will give you some recordings in the app. So to open an Apple Watch recording, you click on See All Analysis. You go on bottom of this list, and then you have a button Import here. And when you click Import, it will ask you for an authorization to allow you to read your Apple Health data. So you have to confirm this, authorize. And you see, like other recordings, you have several recordings which are coming from Apple Health. And something interesting in that is that maybe I can try and share this screen. It would be better. Let me try and share it with you. Oh, oh. Oh. Oh, yes, it's better. Okay, so let me share the screen. Now you see the screen of my phone. So I'm back. See all analysis, it opens your files. You go on the bottom, you click on import. I already gave an authorization. So now you see I have several recordings that come straight from this Apple Watch recordings. So this is tied to this particular device. It means it opens the Apple Health recordings that are on this device only. You cannot open Apple Health recordings from anyone else. So if you have a customer that has Apple Health recordings, he must do the same from his own device. And you see, for instance, here, it aggregates 3 different recordings like one, so that it's longer. It's 90 seconds. And with 90 seconds, we can start doing some interesting things. One standard Apple recording is 30 seconds, and 30 seconds is a bit too short, and it says it's recording too short, okay? So if you want to do a proper recording, you ask your customer to do at least 3 recordings in a row from the Apple Watch. And this is done by having the watch in place, having your finger on the crown and going to the yep, going to the ECG app and doing 3 recordings straight in a row, and then that will automatically appear in the app. So if we are back on our own app, The main master way to do it is to record like that. When you launch the app for the first time, it will ask for Bluetooth authorization, and it will ask it only once. So if you click that you don't allow the app to allow the Bluetooth, you're cooked on this device. So you have to go to the system preferences and do it by hand, or the easiest way would be probably to just remove the app, uninstall the app, and reinstall it. And at that time, Apple will or Windows will allow us to ask again for the permission. So as you see, it has directly connected with my device. We did a lot of tests this weekend during the conference, and there was a lot of different devices and softwares in the room, and everything was nearly perfect. So I think the Bluetooth connection is now fairly solid. If there are problems or if you need to change the device, you can just click here and it will relaunch the whole sequence. And if there are several devices like here, you can choose what device you want. But if this one is the device that I usually use, so it will connect automatically if I don't do anything. So at that point, I just have to put my fingers on it. And you see, I can put my fingers at the very last step and it starts recording. So it will start with a few seconds without recording usually, and auto removal of problematic parts like that. You see it's red because it was not in the norm. So the recording is automatically cleaned up. And you should go up to the bottom of all green parts in the bottom of the screen. You could, if you just need partial details, you could stop at any point when energy or activity is complete. But if you want to do a complete screen, you have to have at least 128 bits, which is displayed on the top. You see 69, 70, 71, 72, 73. That's the number of bits that are actually recorded. And on the bottom, you see also the number of bits that has been automatically discarded. Yeah, minus 14 here. So I removed my finger so I can just put them back and it will reconnect. And it will continue. And all the graphics that you see on the bottom of this recording are not live analyzed. So it's just the empty graphics, but you see there is no links or no particular part that is put forward because it is not yet personalized to the recording. So it's just a preview of everything that you can see later. If you have questions or if you want to ask anything, just feel free to jump into the microphone.
While the scan is taking place there, can you actually just explain what it is, what the scan actually does? So it is reading your heart rate, and then within your heart rate,
it's so I can stop it now. Yeah. So it will stop automatically if I don't do anything. There is a small countdown here, or I can just choose to stop it. This is a medically certified ECG sensor, and we are recording the fuel wave of the electrical activity of the body. So it means we don't just measure the intervals between beats, we take the fuel electric activity, and as you use it between your two fingers, the whole electrical current will go from your arms to your chest, and it will in fact measure the whole activity of the body. So it's not only the heart that is generating electricity, but in fact your whole body is as an electric activity. So this is something that we will find in our app. So back to the screen. So if you want to do a very, very basic reading, you don't go to understand, you don't go to test, you don't go to share, you just go straight to frequencies or balance. But you see there is a progression. In the balance part, you start with priorities and resources, then you can go to the PDF report, you can go to frequencies, and then you can go to balance. There is a progression like that. It's the same here. You can go to these different parts, like a progression, here too, here too. So all these 4 blocks are organized in a sequential way. So if you want to start with balance, you can start with priorities, which is the most important element that you have to consider, which are automatically selected, but you can add any priorities amongst the 100 and 1,400 biomarkers. And the resources that are also automatically selected. Est-ce que tu veux dire un petit mot sur les ressources maintenant? Yeah. Okay, so before we dive into the resources, I'd like Christine to say a few words about resources because this is our main work.
Yes, hi everybody. We developed a sort of culture, a way of thinking. Thinking. It's a radical changement of paradigm about the way to enter into a sick system or into a problematic particular. And it's I discovered that with the therapy when I began my activity. Therapy show au passé. Showed me at first the part very coherent at the being into the chez la personne, into the being, and it's strange in the beginning, but it's very important because there is a resonance, natural resonance between the therapy and the very coherent part of the being, and it is the key to explore the rest of the problematic, the rest of the sickness, the rest of the being. It's because it's the easy way. It's the beginning of the big connection, interior connection, intern connection, and it's the way to see everything is easy related, and more there is a sort of, je sais pas comment on dit contagion heureuse.
Oh, happy contagion.
There is a sort of happy contagion who develop this coherence more and more in the system, and the person can heal and can become more powerful from the inside without any recipes, any protocols, from the inside, and find himself the way to heal in the good order, in the good order, in the very respectfully with his body. So the way is a way of, we call it the way of the resources, because it's the open door. And in this app, we infuse this way of thinking because it's very, it respects a lot the complex system with the being. And there is no contradiction. There is no contradiction. There is no contradiction, and it's and there is more and more synergy and more power that can be developed inside each person.
So resources are the most realized parts of the body, or the most coherent parts?
Yes, are the most powerful and coherent parts. We have developed, we developed from the beginning of our life and before. Several capacities, several abilities, and the resources are this very like our superpower, and we have to use it to help our body and our soul and what you want.
So she's already a step ahead of us because she's talking about lifetime resources, which are not yet in the app, because one module that will come later is the life missions.
Yes, but one organ maybe can be a very powerful resource inside the body, and yes, it's significant, but whatever, we can use the power of one of our organ or two, or and connect together and diffuse this power, this coherence, this alignment with our life, our being, our body, and produce this happy contagion.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
So what I did in the app is create an algorithm, which is the last level algorithm once everything is calculated in the app, which is already a lot of calculations. So when we have information about all biomarkers in all systems, we will calculate a resource score for every biomarker. And this resource score will give us the best resources in each class, and will also hint us at the most important priorities of things to work with. So basically, the resources are the most energetic, most stable, and most well-connected elements to other elements. So it might not always be the most energetic, for instance, because the algorithm is more complex than that, but it takes into account a lot of things: the stability of the element, its inner energy, how much connection it has with other elements, and if these other connections are by themselves strong or weak. So all of this gives us the resource page, which we see now, which is here. Okay. So for each of the 10 resources group, you have the most important. For instance, in organ groups, you have only 6 elements. So this is 1 and 6, but there are globally, you see, you have 3 strong resources and 2 mild resources that you can change. This green bar is the resource score. There is no absolute value because it's all relative to the other members of the group. But best value, of course, is entirely full, and then it's like an energy bar. So if you go down, it will be less and less. So if I want to check my Trachi, for instance, which is my current resource, probably because I'm speaking, but I can change this, and this can come from a discussion with your customer or with you in introspection with you if it's your own scan, because this resource will be used in the meditation or in the frequencies to be called to heal the other priorities. So if you are comfortable with the automatic selection of resources, all is fine. But if you want to change, you can change and, for instance, say, okay, I'd like to rely on my hormonal system, for instance, and then it will just change the resource. So if you want to click on this one, I want to use another atom, for instance, I'm pretty happy with magnesium. Okay, I will change the resource. So the resources are calculated like that, but you can do what you want with it because at the end, it must resonate with all parts of you. So you can change them. So you have resources for organ groups, which come from Ayurveda. Organs, which are for 464 organs and subgroups. Atoms, we currently have 38 elements from the atoms. Meridians, 21, that's strange, probably 20. Okay, so we have 20 meridians. Momentum, all of these are different pages that we will see in the next webinar series. Okay. Drives, which are mostly emotions. Organisms, which can be symbiotic or parasitic organisms. We even have TCM points, Ayurvedic subdoshas, and chakras. All of these resources will be called by the priorities when they need help. So if I go to priorities and it identifies two organs that need to be worked on, so my left arteries and tears, for instance, when we use them into the frequency plans or into the meditations, the corresponding resources from organs will be called before we start working on this. So we will start by coding the resource energy and then ask this resource to work on the priorities.
Mederick, just 1 second there. We have a couple of questions. One is, what do you mean by resources? Does it mean if your health is compromised, you can use the resources to recover? That's one question.
Yes, the resources are the best realized part in your organism. So it's more or less the strongest part and the most connected part. So this is the part that we identify that you can call to heal other parts that are in need. So that's exactly the principle of resources.
Okay, fantastic.
So
Thank
it
you.
can be an emotion, it can be an organ, it can be an acupuncture point.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then we also have a question from Anthony who wants to jump in with a question. So if you just want to switch off your mic there, Anthony, you can ask your question.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. It's just a little deeper, the next level, which we haven't seen yet. But once we go into that section, it'll show some characteristics in green and maybe some typed in red. So that means that that section has a little weakness if it shows red.
In what section?
The next level, like if you go into, say, tropia, then organs, and then you go deeper and say, click on a parasite or something.
Okay.
And it'll show this red component. And so we may want to select that because that particular characteristic may be weak and we may want to enliven that with the frequency.
I'm sorry, but we were in resources. So you are not in resources anymore?
Well, I'm just seeing you right now. I am. Let's see.
Okay, so
It was a deeper question.
so you are in the resource screen?
Yes, we see organisms right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's say you click on adapting right there on that one.
Yes.
Okay. Now we go to, we can add this by clicking the plus. Right? That will add
Yes,
it.
but you already jumped to priorities. So
Okay.
on this page, the logic is that we want to work on resources. So this resource score is here, and it will tell you which one has the best score and which one can be called to heal the other ones. So you can also change the resource here. But if you click on the flower, so if you click here, you will see the list. Okay.
Right.
But if you click on the flower, you will actually see the flower, which will be explained in detail in a next webinar. And you are right, you can actually add this element to the priorities by just clicking here. So this is something, maybe this is a transition to the second part that we'll see is the priorities. You can add these priorities from any point in the app. So here we are in the priorities page and we see all priorities, but if we are in any other place in the app and we click on the flower, and this is not in the priorities, we can just add them like that. So was that your question?
Yes, and then another level deeper, but we can wait. That might be more advanced
Okay.
in terms of targeting specific elements that may show themselves as weak.
Yes, yeah.
By the red showing up in the description.
But you're right, because this is the next things that we have to talk about. It's priorities is everything that you want to work on. And so the app has made a pre-selection of priorities based on some algorithm, but you can, on each family, you can click on explore and it will propose you some other potential priorities. So in principle, it took the most important priorities in all these categories, but this is a good place to start to see other possible priorities. So, for instance, we have 460 organs, and here you will see the most important one to work on because of different characteristics. For instance, notable energy or notable movement, or these three ones that are in sync, which means that they are moving together. So maybe there is something to dig in. But again, either you go with the automatic selection or you start digging. And if you want to start digging in the priorities, you can add them from the screen. And you see it directly adds a third element here. Or you can just go anywhere in the app and go to the organs and click on any organ. And here, add it as a priority. So this is something that you find everywhere in the app, everywhere where there is a flower, you can add it as a priority. So the principle is that each time you find something interesting, you can add it in the priority. You can just go from element to element and add them in the priorities, but maybe you don't want to have too many priorities because too much information is lost information. So at one point, if you go through the app and you add tens and tens of priorities, you might want to come back to priorities and trim that a little bit down. So maybe you say, okay, here's that not for today. So you can remove it like that. And maybe adrenaline was a bit too much for today, okay? And you want to keep the number of priorities to something like 15 or maximum 20. So I suggest you first do your shopping in all pages of the app, and then you go here and you say, okay, after reflection, maybe I will just keep this one and this one and this one. And you see, when I'm on priorities, I can remove a priority, but it doesn't vanish. So I can say, okay, I will remove this one and this one and this one. Oh no, after all, I will keep this one back. And while you stay in this page, nothing will vanish. But I removed lymphatic. If I go back and I'm back to priorities, now it's gone. So while you are here, you can preview a little bit every what you want to do, and you can put them back like that. You see, we also have recipes in the priorities, and you can also explore recipes. Recipes are a collection of different points, and they are addressed in the frequencies or in balance by activating every one of the points in sequence. It means that if I add a recipe with 4 points, it will add actually 4 elements to my meditation. So recipes could be a little bit more time consuming. So don't add too much recipes because your meditation will be hours after that. But recipes is a very, very good way to work on a global symptom. We will again dig into recipes in the next webinar. Do you have other questions? No, not yet. Okay. Just to give you a preview of what we do with priorities and resources, we can find them in the PDF report, but we want to open that today. We will use priorities to build the frequency program and then to build the balance. So frequencies, you can add frequencies from the flower, but you can also build a frequency program from resources and priorities, and it will directly create elements which are the main frequencies to vibrate the different organs or energetic structure or emotions. And then you can, from this page, if you are a pro, you can add protocols which will further enhance the effectiveness of this therapy protocol. So this comes also from resource and priorities. We will see frequencies in a later webinar. And it will also be used for balance, because balance will calculate the optimal path across all the priorities that you chose. And you can see the text of the whole meditation that you can then play. And you see the meditation is, you start with a resource for the organs, and then you will continue with one priority. And then you will call the resource for the TCM points, for instance, and then you will call every TCM points in sequence. So resources and priorities are really the beginning of this whole balance zone. And I hope you got the general idea behind resource and priorities. So if you have some questions, was that clear?
There's no questions in the chat, apart from Tim saying, wow, this is great. Thank you very much, Tim.
Okay. So no question means everything was crystal clear or nobody understood anything. So just tell us if it's clear for you or if you don't dare asking because it's too complicated. Okay.
Oh, I think that's it. I think there is no questions.
Okay.
That's great. Um, so then, what we have covered today is you have done your scan, you have gone into your report, and we've now talked you through how to interpret the resources and priorities. Priorities is where you need to give attention, and resources are basically the resources within you that you can use to essentially start the healing process. And then we moved on and we talked very briefly about the building of the frequencies, the sound frequencies, as well as the spoken word meditation that will basically take you through maybe a 30-minute to a 1 hour meditation process. Would you say that it's better to do it at the start of the day, the end of the day? When is the best time to do this?
It's really personal, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very good to do a meditation in the middle of the night.
Yeah. I've
You
actually
could,
heard that time is maybe 3 a.m., right? Or
yeah,
3:30.
yeah, yeah, maybe. If you wake up at 3 a.m. and you feel like, okay, let's do a meditation, you just launch the app and click play and just do your meditation. So
Yeah, so David Townshend, I do have a few questions I can get on the mic for. Yeah, please, Dave, please do. Switch on your mic.
an open
This
world.
question, so ask anything you want.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How's it going?
Hey,
Thank you so much for presenting this and creating this app. I mean, I'm very fascinated by it. And it was a couple months back I first saw the videos, but I didn't start using the app until just about like a couple weeks ago.
okay.
And I got familiarized with some of the meditations and certain protocols that were recommended into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a few questions. I'm not sure if they're answered on the website, but I was wondering what kind of third-party research has been done on the the app itself, and what are like the studies that are maybe projected to be done later on in the future as well.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting question. Um, so a lot of the information that comes from the app actually come from thousands of studies that I gathered about almost everything that is in the app. So it's very various. Uh, but what I mostly did is connect the dots between fields that usually don't communicate together. And So for the science, it's based on a lot of different researchers, and it's also based on our own research for several parts, like for instance, this resource principles, or many of the algorithms that are inside are developed by me. Then for the second part of your question about the future,
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do is this app to become a very medical app that every hospital in the world use. And for that, I need validation. So my idea is to start using recordings that are allowing research to make some deep learning on it and to get some quality markers. For instance, you will soon find the SF36 questionnaire in the app, which is a well-being questionnaire, very open and very easy to answer to anybody. But with that questionnaire, which is an official questionnaire that any medical researcher can understand, we can get some official results of evolution of certain official markers. And my idea is that it will probably need one year or two, but when we start having enough data, I want to be able to create some prepared articles on each and every biomarker in the app with an efficiency rate and what it's working on and how it's evolving during the meditations or the frequencies. And all of these things would be taken from deep learning from the millions of recordings that we will have in a few time, hopefully. So this is definitely in the plan to make something that is scientifically rigorous and that will allow any medical doctor in the world to say, okay, now this is something that is proven and that I can rely on to work with my own customers. So that's the plan.
Oh, that is incredible. Yeah, I saw this, through Dan's profile, and I saw that they just did a conference out there in Paris, and I, would imagine that would be like a great way to start that networking into certain fields. That would be very good for this project.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do also have some contacts I know that are into biotechnologies that would be great to build out the development of that medical approach that could hopefully get this someday into, established medical fields. Like I think that would be incredible.
Yeah. There are so many applications, but to open this kind of doors, we need to have effective proof. But this is the plan. This is the roadmap.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and if it is okay, if I can ask one more, I was also curious to know what your team is like of the people that are involved on the projects currently.
In what regard?
Mostly in regards to like the team of people that maybe are either doing research currently or those that are like on the founding members part of the team.
Okay, so this is mostly my brainchild. So I'm working on it since maybe 10 years. And I have a whole group of people around us. In France, I am also a distributor of devices. So we have around 500 practitioners in France that are the core practitioners around our research. And we are leveraging all this network we have a school in France also, so we are doing some teachings and research and so on. So we have a very large group of practitioners that are involved into the initial research of that. And then in the proper team, apart from Stephen that you know and Christine that you just see and me, there are some other, Antoine, for instance, who is the support guy for France. And we have some other people around that, but we are a very, very lean team. I'm more of a solitary guy, so I coded everything myself and I did all the equations myself, and I'm very happy like that.
Oh, oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm seeing.
So we have a lot of people working around it. The development team is mostly me. The theory team, Christine has worked a lot on it, and she's on her way to finish the different books that will explain all the theory behind it. So there will be books on next year probably. First in French, but quickly in English. Yes. And then there is a team around for support and helping and sales and so on.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's my interest, especially in like being from the US too, and seeing how it can be integrated into the market here.
Yeah.
And I
But
did.
for that, my approach is that I want to work with distributors. So, for instance, in the US, we have a distributor who is on the call with us. It's Anthony.
Yes, I know Anthony.
Yes, and we are opening distributorships all around the world right now, honestly, um, because I myself am a distributor for these devices, and I know exactly the kind of work it needs to develop a market locally. So that's why I didn't want us to spread this app alone in the world market, because every local world market has different approaches and different ways of doing things. And although I really want to build up a network of specialized people all around the world, like we did in France for the other devices that I distribute. So this is really the beginning of a big network that I wanted, and I want people to be reliable and involved in it.
Mm, yeah, I just did a quick search too, and now I see um, it said about that you had 40 years of experience with these various healing modalities, and there was another machine that you had worked with too, um, or it seems like a number of different ones, but I just see a video about it on here, so that helps me get a better context of like how you got into this. And I saw in the interview it mentioned how you had expanded on Dan's research as well, and
Mhm.
I mean it's for me like I'm just starting to get myself into this field, but I'm definitely wondering like how just vast amounts of like you could even be able to get, this amount of expansion on his original equations, and
Yeah,
that's
it's the
incredible.
dance equation is used for various things in the app. Regarding dance work, there are two things. All the Elphi values, so that we call Delphi, which are the multiple of Planck times golden ratio to the power of n, and this is used in some specific frequencies and specific durations. And the other thing is what he called the real Hertz coherence, which is when we use a second order FFT, so Fourier transform to get the harmonics inside the pulse. And this also gives us a lot of information that will then be translated into the different biomarker informations.
Mm,
But this is one of the kind of studies that I used, and I used literally hundreds of different kind of studies to get proper information about all organs and meridians and systems and emotions and so on. So there's really a lot of different kind of studies that are integrated into this app, maybe for the first time together.
hmm I see. Wow.
And my most important goal was that it should be fully reproducible. So in fact, if you go to the app and you click here, you see this five or one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, okay. These five elements are the different steps that are needed to go from the raw recording to the resources. So you can actually click. Sorry. No, I'm showing. Okay. You can click on these different elements and recompute it, and it will redo the calculation from scratch. And if you recompute it from scratch, you will get the exact same results, because 100% of what we see in the app comes from mathematical calculations. So it means it's a real calculating way from the raw recording to the end results. So we can recompute it, we will get the same results.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Wow. It's
Yes,
such a gift to see this in its current stage right now before it's like completely blows up, because it's just a matter of time. I can already see that. Uh, and like honestly, that just leads me to my last question here for now, which is like, what is needed to get this whole operation like under uh, full launch? Like, what are the main things that are going to be needed at this point?
my target was September, so I still have 4 days. Well, good.
September. Okay. Wow.
No, no, no. We don't want to rush. I wanted to be able to have a first public version in September, and then we discussed in August that we don't need to rush to market. We need to have a very stable version before rushing to market. And also, I'm perfectly happy with people being still in beta right now. and getting some feedback and so on. So this is definitely a matter of maybe weeks because I am happy with 99% of the functions that are in the app for the first version. It doesn't mean that I don't have at least twice the amount of IDs that I'm frustrated that are not in the first version, because there will be a lot of new IDs coming then. But I have to restrain myself and say, okay, this is the first version, and there is already so much in it that we can say we could call it a day, honestly, we could call it a day. But there will be some amazing new things like group recording, for instance, which will be also a game changer.
Right.
To be able to compare two people or one people versus a group, or to just tune a group together. So that will come later. But right now, my goal was to have a pro version that was entirely clean and bug-free and worked well and was explainable. And then build from this with a very easy version for the general public, so a B2C version, and some new functions that are in the pipeline.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, this gives me a perfect overview. And from there, I do have further suggestions based on my experience. I'll send you maybe via email. And that's it for now, though.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming onto this call and explaining about this.
Yeah, and thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Does anybody want to speak, or shall we wrap it?
Yeah, you had said 45 minutes, and that's pretty much bang on 45 minutes. So,
yes, true. So next Saturday, 4 p.m.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, we'll send you in advance the theme. We have to do the roadmap for this webinars so that you can prepare questions related to the current theme. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
No problem, Gail.
Thank you.